Today's spotlight topic, we have the Juiced 2023 roadmap. We've got a lot of topics for you guys today. We're going to kind of buzz through a high level of all of these, including JuicedSign, our new query builder, our new Excel Docs Configurator, a credit card processing add-on, as well as exact forms plus changes. So we're going to go through each and every one of these, just again at a very high level, and they'll all have their own individual, kind of office hours, I guess you'd say, somewhere down the line. But to hand it off, we've got members of our team, such as Keith here, who's going to be able to start us off with JuicedSign.
All right. Well, thanks again for everyone for joining. I think at the beginning of the year, we kind of announced our roadmap for the year. And what we wanted to do is give everyone kind of an update of where we're at with each one of these projects that Matt had listed on that first slide. So we're not going to go into a great deal of detail on them, but we're going to show you that we have made progress. The add-ons or these projects that we've been working on for the different services are in beta mode for us right now. So that they do exist. They are, they are progressing really, really well. We're excited about them. So we thought it makes sense to reach out to everyone in our community and kind of give you a quick overview of where we're at with each one of these projects. So I'm going to start with JuicedSign. And on my screen right now, you can see I have a sample app. It's a very, very simple quoting application. So I'm going to show you a demo of our JuicedSign add-on. Again, this is beta, and I guess I'll caveat it with they are beta. So, you never know what happens in a live demo, even when it's live and it's not beta. But, well, hopefully we won't have any glitches here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new quote in this application. So test for office hours. So basically just entering in a new test company. I have 2 email addresses that are going to be involved in the signing process. So this quote is going to have 2 signatures. The first one is going to be who I'm sending it from. So if I'm the salesperson, I'm going to send it out. I'm actually sending it out from my Gmail account. It's a better experience right now because I have Office 365 and sometimes I have some delay in that. So I wanted it to be a little bit of a quicker demo. So me as the salesperson, I'm going to review and sign off on the document. And once I'm done signing, John Smith is going to get an email to sign off as well. So right now I'm just going to save this record. And then I'm going to create a quote using Exact Forms Plus. So it's a standard quote that we usually send to all of our customers. So I'm not going to kind of go into the detail there, but I want to show you what the quote looks like. So here's the quote that I'm going to send through JuicedSign, and I'm going to have 2 spots for signature, and they're down on the 4th page, I believe. So here's where me, the salesperson, is going to sign off, and here's where John Smith is going to sign off, but he's not going to sign off until after I do my signature. So once I'm ready to sign off, for those of you who do use our DocuSign add-on, you're going to see very, very similar, a lot of similarities here. So you'll see instead of a send to DocuSign, you're going to see a send to JuicedSign. So when I click that, similar window pops up here, like our DocuSign add-on, but this is our JuicedSign add-on. So it looks very, very close to what we do with DocuSign. We did it on purpose so that there's some familiarity with it, and there's an easier learning curve when you do switch over to JuicedSign. So this is just a screen that says, hey, are you sure you want to do this? You want to send out this quote, and you want to leave these reminder parameters in play. And if everything is good, I'm going to click send to JuicedSign. And we create what we call an agreement ID. So our agreement ID is correlated to DocuSign envelope ID. So there you see our JuicedSign ID. So when I close this screen, you're going to see that, again, we do something similar where we actually store the agreement information. So it's all about the high level information about the agreement. And then we have another table that we insert records into called our JuicedSign recipient. So we know 2 people are supposed to sign off on this. Me through my Gmail, because I'm the salesperson. And you can see it already says delivered because we're tracking the date it was delivered, the open date, sign date, etc. So if I go into my Gmail, see, I received an email and it says a signature request has been sent. So I'm going to just open that up. So here's the email, and it's basically saying, hey, we're going to dress up this email. Right now it's kind of plain text, but you'll see that there'll be a please review and sign. So here's where me as the salesperson, I'm going to review this and sign off on it. And this is going to actually open up that PDF in JuicedSign. So here's that PDF. And you can see there's a similar UI to the DocuSign, but this is our flavor of it. So here's the PDF, and I'm going to just scroll down and see where I'm supposed to be signing. So here's the spot where I'm going to sign, and I'm going to click to sign. So we allow you to select a style. So you can see that we have a bunch of different styles based on my name, which was stored in Quickbase. We allow you to draw, and we're going to allow you to upload a file too. So just in case you already have a saved image of that represents your signature, you'll be able to do that. But right now we offer these two options. You will have to review the terms and conditions. This is part of, making sure that this is considered a binding agreement. You have to go through the disclosure and acknowledgement agreement and accept it. And you simply accept it by saying, yes, I do accept it. And I'm going to choose my signature and I'm going to hit save. So basically that process is done. Now I'm going to close this window and I'm going to go back to Quickbase and just refresh the screen. So when we refresh the screen, you'll see that I did complete my process. I opened it at 2:08 and I signed it at 2:09. Now, one thing I'm going to show you, so automatically now, John Smith has just received this email in this other email address. But before, I'm going to open that in my other screen here. So I have a different browser opened up here. So there's my email from me, the salesperson, to John. So, hey, John Smith here, click and review. So I'm going to open this. So now, again, this is opening up JuicedSign. So here comes JuicedSign. And if I scroll down, I'm going to see Keith's signature. So again, I can scroll through, make sure I agree with the terms of and you see here's the signature, the date signed, and that's where my signature will be placed. But before I actually sign off, I want to go back to Quickbase and refresh the screen. So you'll see that the status changed to opened. I didn't do anything. I could have closed that and gone off and said, you know what, I want to take care of this later at another date and time. But we do update the status once that document was opened. So now I click to sign. And in this case, I'm going to draw a signature instead of selecting one. So let's do my best. John Smith signature. I agree to the terms, hit save. That signing process is done. Close the window, refresh my screen in Quickbase. You'll see that now John is completed. I have all my dates being tracked. So I know exactly when I updated it, when I opened, when I delivered, when I opened, and when I signed. This always shows the last date that the status was updated. So if I didn't go through all of these yet, this will be the same date as this. And what you'll also notice is we have a signed document field here as well. So right now our process is going off and generating the actual document itself with a certificate of agreement that we call, similar to DocuSign certificate of completion. So there it is. I was just refreshing the screen. So now when I open this up, we're going to see the fully signed document. I'm just going to blow it up a little bit more. Scroll down to the signing areas. See, here's my signature, the adopted signature from the drop down. And here's the signature that came from the drawing process. And then you'll also see we have our certificate. It's called our agreement certificate, which shows all the details about the process. How many recipients were involved, how many of those had to sign. If there was somebody who was going to receive a copy, we would have that here. Who the sender was and what company they were from, who the recipients are, and the actual details of the whole process. When it was delivered, when it was opened, and when it was signed. And actually, we throw the signature in there as well. Here's the signed signature, the drawing signature, and we capture all this information. And again, we'll do this separately. In this case, I combined the two of them together, but I didn't have to. I could have had the certificate come back separately, then the signed document. But in this case, I brought them both back together. So that's kind of like the whole sign-off process. And again, it's very, very similar to Our DocuSign integration, we built that like that on purpose. But again, this is all controlled within your Quickbase application. So, and you can fire off your own email notifications from these as things happen. But what also happens is emails go back out to the signers. So here's that, I'm back in as John Smith because I'm in the Juiced emails, but so here's the completed document. So it did get sent via email as well. And they have the ability to store it on their own if they don't want to. Obviously, if they're not a Quickbase user, they're not going to have access to the document, but this goes out to the customer. And again, we didn't have to put the certificate of completion in there. We didn't want to. So that, Matt, do you think I covered it all?
Yeah, I think so too. Francisco had a great question. Will we be able to customize the thank you page after the signature?
Yes, you will. You'll be able to, right? Well, it's our landing page. So we direct ourselves to our landing page that says thank you. We're going to give you the ability to put in your own landing page URL link. So if you provide us with the link, you can just, we'll put that on your profile. And when the process is done, we'll redirect right to your page instead of ours.
Good question, Francisco. And of course, guys, I just want to make sure you guys all know that this is version 1.0. You know, there's a lot more to come. We're really working on a bunch of features. Keith, I think that was a great demo, very much high level. Where/when do we indicate when someone has to sign and where the signature is displayed? Another good question. So Keith, they're asking about the JuicedSign recipient tags. I'm not sure if we want to get too far into that today, but I believe Kip, I believe you answered that. So Kip, we do have a table there called the JuicedSign recipient tags. Keith, I don't know if you want to just talk to that.
Yeah, this is where it's similar to our DocuSign add-on as well. This is where the placement of the tags are defined so that when a document gets sent out, there's consistency. So you don't have to actually tag the document yourself. We tag once, and every time the document is generated, those same tags will be placed throughout the document. So the person sending it, let's say your salespeople, if you have 10, 15, 50 salespeople, we don't expect them to tag the documents because they're predefined tags. And it's based on placement within the, we key off of different, I'd say, anchor strings within the document so that we say, all right, well, if we find this string in the document, we're going to drop a sign tag right here and there. But in the example that you just saw, we don't actually show the tags inside of the document. That's version, we're working on that. So that's why you sort of click to sign, and that's what popped up in our signing window. But we'll be placing the tags throughout the document, and you'll be able to, tab through them and actually land on the spots you need to action. But
right.
All of the tagging is going to be defined right in this recipients tags table.
Right. So guys, I'm just going to ask Justin, maybe put in JuicedSign.com as a little plug in there into the comments. If anyone's interested in learning more, you guys can definitely use that link there and just sign up so you guys get up-to-date information on that. And once it is released, which hopefully it is in the very much coming weeks, you'll be on the short list to know more and get started. And also, what I love about it too is it is very similar workflow to DocuSign. So it should be something very familiar to end users and power users in Quickbase alike.
We're very excited about this add-on. So, and we'd love to go into a lot more in depth here, but we just kind of wanted to get, this is like a teaser. This is a tickler that we want you guys to see that we've made a lot of progress with this. It does exist. It will be released within a couple of weeks. We're planning on an April release, but we have a couple other things we'd like to share, and I don't want to steal all of the time here.
Yeah, Keith, come on.
But you can certainly send us questions at support@juicetech.com. You can go to our JuicedSign.com and sign up there to be notified when we're ready to release this. But once again, we're excited about this, and I want to jump right into Dylan to let him get involved in showing you some of the Excel configurator as well as our query builder.
Right.
Hello, everyone. Let me get my screen shared up. There we go. It should look like it's going to be blank. So if any of you guys have been here before, you're probably wondering who this person is. I'm Dylan. I'm not usually on these, but today we have some stuff to show, some really cool stuff. So if any of you have ever set up any of our Excel docs add-on in your app, you'll know that sometimes it's a little bit of a bear to mess with and getting everything set up. So we decided that we wanted to make a tool that will make that process much faster. So we had an existing tool called EFP Configurator to help you set up your EFP documents. And now we're getting really close to unveiling our Excel Docs Configurator. So I have a demo template right here. It has nothing on it. And we're just going to open up the configurator, and it's going to work for me because we're on a meeting. So right here, we have, we're loaded into the configurator for our master template. So here we're able to select a table to grab all the data from. You want to set a name for the template, what Excel sheet it's going to go into, and if you're going to print it out to PDF pages, you can specify that here. So I'm going to just pre-fill a couple of values here based on our demo today. So these are all going to be placing into an Excel sheet somewhere. So we're specifying the cell position on the sheet where we want the data. So we're going to put employee name into A1, employee ID into B1, salary in C1, and position into D1. And let's say I want employee name to actually be in 2 places. I can delimit it by a comma and just do E1. Then we're just going to save. That updates all the fields on the template. I can go back to the template and just refresh it. And now it automatically has that CLS built out for us. Now, just to make sure that what we did works, I'm going to just generate the document and open it into view for us. And this was a blank template from the document template record. And now we have name, ID, salary, location, and then their name again. So now we're going to close this up. And now we're going to skip over the images tab. I'm going to talk about that in another second. And we get the data tables, also known as subtables, if you're familiar with Excel docs. So here, let's say that we want to get a bunch of other data from another table, or even the same table, or just additional data that you want to be placed onto the template. So we're going to add a new data table. I'm going to max this out. And now we're met with our data grid view. So we're able to select another table from here, and then same thing, you put in a sheet number. And in this case, we're talking about expenses. So we're going to do expenses data. And I'm just going to choose a couple fields. So we're going to do A3 for date submitted, B3 for supervisor, C3 for department, D3 for description, F3 for cost, and G3 for image URL. So this field right here, image URL, is normally a URL field, but we know that it links to an image. So we're also going to change this to type image. I'm going to save that. And now we can proceed over to the images tab. Since we selected an image in this table, we know now, hey, we want to place this as an image. So if you want to set a specific height and width, you would do so here. But for now, we're just going to leave it as auto, which will just take the image's original size. On the next tab, we're going to just brush over this really fast. This is just the additional settings for the subtable. Normally, most people are going to be looking to place multiple records or line items of data. So we have this is data grid checked. Otherwise, you're just talking about a singular record. But we're going to just skip over this for now. We're going to have another office hours talking about the configurator in a lot more depth upcoming. So we'll go over all of this stuff in much more detail. Next, we have the query tab. So this defines exactly how you're going to be pulling the data from Quickbase. So we have 2 modes that you can use to specify what data. You have either query mode or report mode. So I'll go to report mode first because it's easier. So report for whatever table you had selected in the table/fields. If you put in a report ID or the report name from that table into this field, it'll just pull the records that are on that. So let me just press cancel. And then the other choice is query. So we rebuilt or mocked up a query builder based off of the way that Quickbase allows you to build filters or queries inside of reports and notifications. So this is a fully functioning system that should mirror it pretty accurately. So if you're used to using Quickbase and building reports or notifications, this should be very at home to you. So I'm just going to do record ID is greater than 0 for now. That should take care of, that should load in every single record out of the table. But while we're here, I'm also going to just show you, you do have the ability to query again, compare stuff against the same table or the same records, or you're able to look at stuff that's in the parent record that you generated from the master configurator. So whatever table that was chosen. The master one is going to be used for relationships. And if there's a relationship between the chosen subtable and master table, it'll pre-fill this with that relationship value. But for right now, we're just going to leave it as that. We're also going to just tell it that we want this to be ascending by date submitted, and we're going to ignore these other two values in here. We're going to save that. And then just a very quick glance at this. This is our subtotaling and grouping tab. This allows you to add additional statistics from the data or group them. So in this case, we're just going to add a subtotaling label. And we know that we put costs into F3. So I'm going to put the label on D. That's the column that it's going to populate our label into. We want a total F. And let's make F this ugly shade of aquamarine. And save that, and we'll close out of this. Once you close out of the popped up subtable, if you launched it from the master table configurator, it will reload the page so that you always see the newest set of data on your screen. Now we're just gonna run that again, pull this up, and we can see here, it loaded these images, which are signatures. They're way too big because I left it at auto. So I'm just going to get rid of that so we can see past it. And here we go. We have all of the records that had a record ID of less than or greater than 0, which is the entire table. We also have this nice subtable totaling row. So this is going to come out very soon. It's going to make everything way easier to create in Excel docs, and it's just going to be much more fun experience for everybody involved.
Halfway to the moon, one-way ticket off season. So Dylan, we got a good question from Laura Thacker. Can it generate header row based off the field names out of Quickbase as the header cell? That's a great question.
So let me just pull up the chat so I can read that myself. Generate header row based on the field names. So based on the field names, no, I don't believe it could. You could place that directly onto the template though.
Yeah. Hey, Dylan, that's a good point. I just wanted to jump in. You're right, Laura. If we make it so that you can have your own custom look and feel to the template. So that's why we wouldn't do something like that necessarily. But it's a good potential option for us to build in. But you know, like Dylan said, placing that right on the template is really the best way to do that.
Yeah, let's say if you wanted to have the field names above this header row on Excel Docs Configurator, you just put these all to row 2, and then you could manually type in when you upload it originally what the field name is. So in this case, like name right there, and that'll keep on the final output. Right.
And that's standard Excel docs. And I know that would make sense. You can save it as a template file that way. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And that's exactly how Excel docs has worked historically in the past. But the Excel docs subtables is definitely was a kind of a bottleneck with some clients for Excel docs as the old way. And Dylan, if you wouldn't mind, maybe you can show the old subtables, just so people have some reference to what they're coming from. And
yeah, so if you haven't dealt with these monsters yet, so here's our subtable record. So you used to have to, and technically currently have to, figure out the querying language for Quickbase, write the query by hand, and then some of the other things like the, I don't see the field here. Hold on. Sorry, technical difficulties. Where's ST list? Oh, it's supposed to be there. I just don't see it. Some of the things like the subtotaling list, AV list, are a little, oh, it's right in
Right
front of
on.
me. Yeah, right in front of me. So something like this, you would have to stare at the help docs for a bit to learn. I know I had to figure out exactly how all this stuff works, but now you will be able to just, with little prior knowledge to how Excel docs works, be able to launch the configurator and build your template pretty handily.
Right. And I think that that talks to the point of entry for Excel docs for anyone who is not really a power user or an admin in Juice Technologies or Quickbase itself. You'll be able to come in and make edits to these templates faster and easier. We see it with exact forms, plus people love the configurators. So we get comments on those all the time about how helpful they are. So we're really excited to get this launched, and Dylan's done really a lot of work on this and it looks awesome. I'm really excited to get using it myself. But speaking to that, Dylan has also been working on kind of a complementary tool called Query Builder, which you might have got a little taste into with Excel docs. So I'll let him talk to that right now.
So inside of Excel docs configurator, we had built this front-end view portion to build out a query to make it much more similar to the Quickbase experience of building out a report. So we took it upon ourselves to build that control, and now we're able to do whatever we want with it. So you'll be seeing it in other add-ons coming up. But in the meantime, we also made it as its own standalone add-on that you could use however you see fit. So we have some examples here for you. So I'm just going to clear this out. So this is our add-on called Query Builder. So right now we have in these three fields, these are going to be the relevant fields to us. We have the query's DB-ID, and then the query's parent DB-ID. So we're going to launch the Query Builder here. It's going to use those three fields as pre-fill, but since they're empty, it's not going to do too much. So this is our Query Builder. You're going to be able to select a table to query against. In this case, we want to look at employees, and it's going to have this very familiar report filter building element right in front of you. So from this, we're going to just select something like first name, and we want it to query on anything in first name that doesn't contain Dylan. And then we're going to press save. And at the bottom here, we can see that it wrote out the Quickbase query for us. Now, we're just also going to cancel out of this, and we can see here on the record that it wrote out the query as well as the DB-ID that was chosen for the query. Now, this is a really powerful tool in the right hands. If you can figure out an application for it, you can do anything that has to do with Quickbase queries. So in this case, let's say that we want to build a pipeline that runs through all of the employees that were, let's see, have an ID greater than 15, just for random instance. Now we have this query. We could take this query and go to the pipeline and pop it straight into that advanced query bit of the search step.
So Dylan, you clicked on the that little thing. How do you copy that to your clipboard again?
So there's a little copy button right next to it, and you can press that and it'll copy straight to clipboard.
Very cool.
Yeah, instead of having to highlight it. We do know that hopefully you don't have to go too crazy, but some queries do have 17,000 steps and they get a little long. So we just want to make it easier for you.
Right.
So on top of that, let's say that you have a report already that you want to, let me just see. You can do a comparison against a field like greater than, yeah. So if we do last ID, and then, so right now, since we only have the employees table chosen on this side, you get the choice to do the value in the field, and then you can choose any other fields from the same table. And this is just how the Quickbase querying language works. So we'll do, or ID is greater than the value in the field record ID. That'll turn into this, the 9GT FID3. So this will work all across Quickbase. This is just how the querying language works. On top of that, if you would like, you can select a master table. So in this case, we're just gonna, I can't really show you a good usage of this in this demo, but we're just going to select historical queries, which is this table. And now this dropdown for what you're comparing against now grants this new option to query against a parent. When that's selected, now all of these fields are pre-populated with the parent table's fields. And in this case, it's going to look much more like if you're familiar with a formula or one of our add-ons, it's going to put the parent field in square brackets with the full field name. Now, you can use this in a couple places around Quickbase. Namely, you can use this in formula queries as if the parent table is the table where you're building the formula query on, it will accept that as a field name inside of the formula. You may say, well, this is just a string. It won't work in a formula. We have a little selector down here on the bottom right that can change it between text modes so that you can put it wherever you want. So in this case, now it's ready to be copied and pasted as a formula. Similar to the rest. So in terms of the amount of queries you can build, I don't know if we've figured out a structure in terms of activities for this. Have we?
No, I don't think so yet. We're still in the process of figuring out all the details. But Mike, I know you love to use our tools, so we might have to limit you. But yeah, no, Keith looks like he had to quick. Yeah, it's not a cost to existing clients. Right. So this is, Keith put it best right there. So I'll let him speak to that. Hey, Dylan, can you show them importing?
Yes. Yeah. So let's go to the, I don't remember where you made that report, probably here. Yeah. So we have this report on tasks named Test QID report. So this report has the filter. It's a very simple filter. Record ID is greater than 15. Let's grab from the top here QID, and let's go back to our query builder, open it up, and we're just going to deselect the parent table and reselect tasks. So now query builder is in tasks table. There's this button up at the top right that allows you to import queries by string. So here, if you have a pre-written query in a string already, the normal query language, you can paste it in here. Alternatively, you can give it a report ID or report name from the table that you're on, press import, and it will read it, and it'll figure everything out for you. Yes, this is cheating. This is making everything easier for people, so you don't have to sit there and bash your head against the wall trying to write Quickbase's weird query language that barely makes any sense sometimes. We also, as I said, let's see, what was that query's name? Test QID report, just to make sure that it works. Of course, it's not going to work because I'm doing it on call. So let's just plug that in and import, and there we go. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, this should be able to do everything that the report builder is able to do and more. If any of you guys end up using this utility and you have any questions, comments, concerns, or requests that you want this to be able to do, we're incredibly open to feedback for this one because it opens up builders to do so much more and navigate queries so much faster. But yeah, that's all we really got to show on this one. The world's your oyster. You can figure out the use cases because I'm sure there are infinite.
Right. And I think that's really what we spoke about too, is we want to help people do more with Quickbase in general. And I think this is a really quick and easy way to do that. Dylan, kick-ass job. Obviously, everyone in the comments is very excited about this as well, as are we. And I know I'm going to be using this all the time, so I'm excited about it.
We also plan on putting this query builder into our Exact Fonts Plus configurator to allow you to do your filtering, a little bit more advanced filtering, taking advantage of ands and ors, just like Dylan had built into the Excel Docs configurator. We're going to just kind of mimic that in the Exact Fonts Plus configurator. So that's a stay tuned comment there.
Right. Roadmap.
Yeah, Keith, I think I don't know if I want to highlight that again. And Dylan, can you show Excel Docs Configurator again and show where you've embedded it, just so we highlight it again?
Sure
That's a good
thing.
point.
I just
Yep.
gotta really quickly find that.
Lots of tabs.
2 tabs. What are you talking about? So let me just pull up. Yes, so it does work with formulas. There are 2 ways you could use it in a formula. If it's just for the same table in a formula query, you could just use the normal text version, or if it's pointing at 2 tables with the formula query, you would put it into formula mode, and you'll just be able to copy and paste it straight into your formula without any syntax errors.
Mhm.
So let's go over to query here. So this is the same exact query builder that we just saw in the query builder app.
So you can do ands and ors, and you can do grouping just like Quickbase reports. Very cool.
You can get really crazy with this stuff. It's almost as close as 1-to-1 as we could get with Quickbase reports.
Nice.
Very exciting. Very, very exciting. Does anyone have any more questions regarding Excel Docs Configurator or Query Builder? Just as a reminder, we will have office hours for these 2 utilities as separate. Sean, I see you raised your hand. The floor is yours.
Okay, so for the Excel docs, is that just going to be an upgrade to the people that already have Excel docs? And then if that's the case, will we need to go in and do anything with this new layout that you have here? Or would we have to like convert it over to this newer layout to make changes?
So you don't have to use the configurator. We are planning to make it so that you can go to our cloud and use the wizard to add the buttons. But the configurator was built in mind for backwards compatibility. There's no necessarily new features or new ways to write things. It's just a tool to make it easier to write the current stuff.
Thank you.
Good question, though. Yeah, and what's the Query Builder ETA? Well, Dylan, that's a good question. Keith,
Keith, that's a good question.
Well, we got a lot on our plate right now, so we're beta testing it ourselves and trying to get all of the kinks out, which we've been doing for the past couple of weeks as well. So probably mid-April, we feel it will be ready for prime time and accessible from our cloud, because you'll be able to go to Excel Docs and let's say click on our setup wizard from the Excel Docs, and then just click on a checkbox to say update my existing setup. And what that will do is it'll add the buttons and a couple of fields that are needed to access the utility. So we just got to really make those changes to the wizard now. That hasn't been done yet. So technically we could roll it out and manually, if you're dying for this, if we really needed to, we could, maybe within a couple of weeks or maybe before mid-April, we could like manually get this out to you. But full rollout will probably be mid-April, where you can actually do it from the wizard.
Sounds good, Keith. We always love DIY, so as much as possible, we would like to stick to that. Dylan, man, great job presenting.
Yep.
2 thumbs up.
No
So
problem.
I think we're going to shift focus to our bread and butter, Keith, and we've got some quick exact forms plus changes that we want to highlight.
I think Todd wanted to jump in quick on the payment
Right.
process.
How could I possibly forget? So something else that we brought up, and I'm not sure, we actually had a couple of you guys join a little bit later. We might have skipped through the slide, so I'll just pull it back up so we could all take a look at this again. So we took a look at our 2023 roadmap, and we had JuicedSign, which Keith was able to go over. We also did Query Builder and Excel Docs with Dylan just now. Something else that we're currently working on is a new add-on, credit card processor. And Todd and I have been talking about this and kind of how we're going to roll this out. We don't, unfortunately, have anything to show you guys at this very moment, but this is in the works. And the credit card processor is going to be a connection to a service called authorized.net. And this will allow you to make reoccurring or one-time credit card purchases. We're not going to be storing anything through Quickbase. It's going to be through Quickbase. So you'll be connecting to that service. And I think Todd might be able to speak a little bit more of how the workflow is going to be, but this is something that's going to be coming out this year.
Yeah, like Matthew said, we more than likely, there'll be a couple options to process credit card information. I mean, when you're involved in a billing subscription and you want to set that up on the authorized.net platform so that it's a set it and forget it, and that billing would just occur on whatever basis you want, say monthly, for instance. We present you with an interface. You select various different options, when to start the billing, how much, etc. Right, and obviously account information, and then we'll process that through to authorized.net, for instance, and set that billing subscription up so that can go and constantly bill, for instance. We'll also allow one-time credit card transactions and that kind of thing. This is sort of born out of the fact that, JuicedSign, we want to have it to be as flexible as possible. So, one of the things we want to do is allow credit card processing as well when you're signing off on a contract, etc. So, it's a logical sort of addition to JuicedSign, and that's kind of why we're going to do it. So like Matthew said, we don't have anything to show just yet. We're working on all that right now, all the details and mapping that all out. So that'll be ready.
Right. And exactly like Todd said, JuicedSign is kind of the inception of this, but Candace, you had a great question. If we purchase the DocuSign to do credit card processing, will this be able to be migrated to this add-on? So here's the deal. If you still need something to be signed, you would have to either use A, DocuSign, or B, use JuicedSign as we demonstrated before. If you believe JuicedSign is going to fit your use case, we'd absolutely be able to migrate it over to JuicedSign rather than DocuSign. However, the credit card processor will probably come out later than JuicedSign. That will not come out hand in hand. That's more of a 2.0 or 3.0 as part of that release. But the credit card processor can be used, I think right now even, Keith, right, with DocuSign?
Yeah, we have an integration with DocuSign that does handle credit card processing today. But like Matt said, within version 1 of JuicedSign, this won't be available for sure. Probably more towards the end of the year with our versions of JuicedSign, we'll be able to handle credit card processing. That's our hope. So if once we do release that, and if you're using our DocuSign with credit card processing, we would switch you over to the JuicedSign with credit card processing.
Right. Yep. And Candace, do you have any other specific questions based off this? You're welcome to unmute if you would like to come off chat, and if you want to talk to it. Nope. We got a sweet and a thank you. We like that. But yeah, we're very excited about the credit card processing. That's a frequent request that we've gotten, and we hope to have that implemented very soon. So we wanted to talk to that as one of our roadmap items for 2023. But with that said, as I was mentioning a little earlier, we do have some Exact Forms Plus changes that we will be going over in detail either next week or very soon. So I'm going to hand it off to Keith to talk about that.
Yeah, we have a couple of new changes that we're rolling out with Exact Forms Plus. 3 of these changes are available right now or within the next couple of days when we roll it out to everyone. But one of them is called pre-files. We've got, again, all of these changes come about by you, our customers. So thank you for challenging us to build these additional feature sets into our products. In the past, we've had add files, so you were able to generate a document and append a document to the generated document, and that was through add files. We now kind of added pre-files. So now let's say you want to generate an Exact Forms Plus document, but you have another document that you want to put ahead of it. And maybe you also want to put a document behind it. So you really were making a sandwich out of that generated document. So we're going to click this button. We're going to generate our projects document. And inside of our projects document is going to be surrounded by this chart PDF. So it's just a 1-page chart. And our authorization form, which is just a 1-page authorization form. So I'm going to generate the Exact Forms Plus document. And really all we did was we added a new parameter called pre-files. So just like the add files, it's going to be pre-files. It has the same exact functionality, except it's just going to put the documents ahead of the generated document. So when I click this button here, it's going to generate my projects document, but it's going to take that chart PDF and put it up ahead of it. So here's the chart PDF. If I scroll down a bit, there's my project document. So this was the actual document that Exact Forms Plus generated, and it placed this one before it, and then it put the authorization form after it. So that's pre-files. And again, that should be available to everyone. It's probably available to some people now. If you're on our AWS server, so when you click this button, if it says AWS Juiced-Client 2, it's probably available. We're rolling it out to all of our other customers within the next couple of days. Same with our one other quick change we made was if you are an S3 customer, we added a new parameter called S3 key value. So if you wanted to control this value that you save in the file in S3, we kind of generated that for you. But now there's a new parameter called S3 key value. And if I uncomment it, if I just want to make the value project test, when I save that in Amazon S3, I pass in this new parameter. And when I click the button, so this was the old way of saving, and it'll still do it. If you don't pass that parameter in, it still uses the file name, the DB ID of the table, and the extension. But now, with this new parameter, you can control it yourself if you don't want that to be the key value. So when I close this, we'll see the key value change. Let's move that a little bit. I just hate the way this Quickbase thing works here. See now the S3 key value changed to project test. So again, that's a new parameter called S3 key value. It's only really if you're interested in it, if you're using Amazon S3 and you want to control the key value there. One other thing that we did, or that we're planning on doing, which we're excited about, is summary reports in Exact Forms Plus. So this one actually is not available yet because we're still working on this one. But in the case where we have an invoice where we have a bunch of line items, and we have a bunch of, in this case, I have line items for my invoice itself, and then I have part line items. But I also have a summary report, which really summarizes those groupings instead of having each individual line item. I have two of them actually here. So this is a summary report, and it's a simple summary report. It's not a crazy crosstab. And we're not going to be able to handle the crazy reports at the beginning, but we'll be able to handle some of these summary reports here. So if I don't want all of this to show up in my Exact Forms Plus generated document, and I'd rather have this view, then we're going to be able to allow that through our summary reports. So I'm going to show you that now, because this is again, it's a beta version of Exact Forms Plus that's going to generate the document with the details. So it's going to show you all of the line items, but we also can show the summary report as well. So if you didn't want to use this STRID and you just wanted the invoice to look like this, you could have just passed in the summary reports and you'd get those same values. Now you'll be able to also control it the way we control it in the Exact Forms Plus configurator, meaning you can control the colorizations, you can control the widths, the subtotaling, the totaling, etc. So this is all going to be available in our configurator to select the summary report you want to appear in the document, and then control the different layout, or if you will. So you can control how the borders look, the colorization, and even the font colors and so on. So that one is something that we're pretty excited about. And that's going to be relatively soon. I'm not sure exactly when. We're hoping that one will probably be an April release as well. But with that one, what we also have is, let's see here. I think Hong Kong, you might be excited about this one. If I have an amount field that I actually change the symbol to be the euro symbol. In the past, we can never handle this because the XML API that we use from Quickbase doesn't bring us back this value. It brings back nothing or garbage. So whenever we would generate a document where someone overrode the currency symbol, we were never able to display it properly. So now if I generate this, and I showed this twice. So once without, a formula. I'm going to show you what the formula looks like, but I'm generating the document now, and it's going to actually show that euro symbol. So I'm going to blow this up a bit. You can see now we do show the euro symbol. And all I did in my template, here's our template. Here's the field 69, which is that currency field without the formula around it. And you can see that it showed $100 without the euro symbol. So we're actually handling ourselves. We're saying, all right, if Quickbase isn't going to provide us that value back in the XML API, we'll actually introduce this formula inside of the template where you're saying, I have a currency formula and that's a pipe, and I want to use the euro symbol and that's a pipe, and I want to use the field 69. So this is available now within this new version that we just talked about with pre-files. So if you do want to show the euro symbol in your documents, you can now. This is only in the master side of data. We plan on doing this in the subtables as well, but right now we were able to do this relatively easily in the master section, so we want to roll this out first. But again, this will be available in subtables. I'm not sure exactly when that will be available, but this is actually available now. So that's the other thing we wanted to show. Charting is coming around too. We do plan on doing some charting capabilities. I have a quick little demo. That chart that you saw in the pre-files was actually generated by Exact Forms Plus. So this is actually a dynamic chart. Again, this is in infancy here. We're just playing around with this, but we know we're able to do this. The challenge is going to be actually letting you guys configure this and tell us what type of chart you want to use in the styling. We're not going to actually call out to our Quickbase report that does charts. We're actually going to help you build this inside of the Exact Forms Plus document. But this is actually generated by Exact Forms Plus by me passing in certain parameters. But that's another thing that is on the roadmap further down. That hopefully by maybe third quarter, fourth quarter, we'll be able to do some charting. But those are the things I wanted to show with Exact Forms Plus. We're always constantly looking to make Exact Forms Plus better, and we get all of that. We're making it better based on the feedback you guys give us. So we certainly appreciate that. Keep challenging us. We'll do our best to try to meet those challenges. And again, we're excited about the items that we spoke about today: JuicedSign, Excel Docs Configurator, the query builder, the payment processor, and these changes for Exact Forms Plus.
Well said, Keith. Well said. And we are excited about all these, but we also want to know, what are you guys most excited for? So if you guys notice, there may be a poll on your screen, or maybe there's a poll on the bottom corner. We want to hear from you guys, what you guys are most excited for going forward. It would be really nice to see, how we can, help you guys get more out of the Quickbase platform and the most out of our products as well. So we're super excited, and we appreciate you guys coming today. And Keith, don't take too many tricks out of your sleeve. I went through a lot, which is cool. So looks like Query Builder up there with most excited. Wow, Dylan, look at you with the kick-ass add-on.
I believe Vaughn had a question at the beginning as well about Text My QB, if we just wanted to quickly hit that.
Yes, he did. And Vaughn, I did message you on the side about that. Text My QB, we do have some processors that we need to use. It's called eSendX. I would be happy to send you an email after this if you're still on. I'm not even sure if you're still here. And we could talk about how we can get you started with that. But it is not too difficult. You could also view some of our old office hours to learn about how we will use that. But I will say, Query Builder, by far the top of the most interest. So we love to see it. We're happy we're happy that there's interest across the board, though, because there's clearly, you only got one choice. So everyone's interested in something. We're really excited to see that and that we're going in the right direction. As Keith said, if you guys have ideas or suggestions or feedback, please do not be shy. That is how we grow. That is how we learn. And that's how we better, help provide solutions for you guys.